Hello and welcome everybody to today's video. As you might be able to tell by the title of the video, as well as the thumbnail, we're going to be going over a very serious topic. This year is the 20th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks. And this year I would like to go over 3 songs that were directly inspired by the September 11th attacks. I would like to do this to shed light on some of the songs that were directly inspired by this tragedy. Now, allow me to just say this really quickly. I, myself, was not born when 9/11 occurred. I was born a few months after the September 11th terrorist attacks. I myself am 19 years old, yet the September 11th attacks affected me and still do affect me profusely at this current moment, and even prior to this, and it probably will for decades to come, much like it will affect everyone in America for decades to come. Now, without further ado, let's get it on with the video. Amongst the Shadows and Stone by Trivium. This is perhaps the youngest song on the list because Trivium wrote the song Amongst the Stone and Ashes, but Amongst the Shadows and Stone, just last year. And as you might be able to tell just by listening to the lyrics, it is very clear that it is directly talking about the events of 9/11. Now, here on Song Facts, it states, and I quote, Bielu had already inserted the screams on the Amongst the Shadows and the Stones part of the hook when he played the demo to his bandmates. Bassist Paulo Guerreto took that part and started writing lyrics for the rest of the song. He explained to Apple Music that the lyrical subject changed as they got deeper into the songwriting. Quote, I ended up thinking about how we were coming up on the 20th anniversary of 9/11 and the war on terror, and what the real consequences have been, not only for us, but for the people on the other end. End quote, he said. Quote, So it's about the aftermath, when the dust settled and there's just rubble and nothing. And the song is very powerful in its message. It is fairly obvious from the outset that this is a band that is, primarily doing screamo and whatnot, but that's not the point. The point is that there was some very raw emotion that went into the song. And that raw emotion came from only one place. That place being tragedy. Second song on the list came out around the same time as the third song on the list in 2002, the same year I was born. This song is called Sky is Falling by Lighthouse. Now, Song Facts here states, and unfortunately this is rather short, so you're probably only going to have to go off of the audio to really pick apart when it comes to this, but lead singer Jason Wade said, quote, I wrote this song after September 11th. I didn't write it specifically about that, but it's my observation on how quickly people can fall back into their everyday lives even after something unbelievably terrible happens. End quote. And this song, from how it's presented to the lyrics, very perfectly captures, in my mind, just really how quickly everyone can just fall back into their normal lives as if nothing is wrong and everything is okay, which that's honestly really terrible to think about, but at the same time, it makes sense. Anyways, the final song on this list is, as my shirt might be alluding to, My Chemical Romance's Skylines and Turnstiles. Skylines and Turnstiles, as Song Facts here states, it was the first song that was ever written for My Chemical Romance. And this song is very special on this list because Gerard Way, the lead singer of My Chemical Romance, who was also the person who wrote this song, was in Manhattan when the 9/11 terrorist attacks happened. He said, quote, "I didn't see the planes hit. I did see the buildings go down from, I'd say, very close. It was like being in a science fiction film or some kind of disaster film. It was exactly that kind of feeling. You didn't believe it. You felt like you were in Independence Day. It made no sense. Your brain couldn't process it. And for me, it was a little different. I'm very empathetic, and I'm kind of a conduit emotionally. So I pick up on a lot of stuff in that way. There was about 300 or 400 people around me, and I was right at the edge. All these people behind me, they had friends and family in those buildings. I didn't. So when the first building went, it was like an A-bomb went off. It was just this emotion, and it made you nauseous. Now, when it comes here to Skylines and Turnstiles, when listening to the song, you can very clearly tell that there is a lot of emotion going through Gerard as he's singing it. In fact, part of the song is from the perspective of someone who was there watching everything unfold and calling someone to see, to ask them where they were. And another part of the song does deal to an extent with what Gerard said in this interview. And when it comes to the song, it has a lot of raw emotion, and all of these songs carry a lot of emotion with them to an extent. I suppose there's no better way to end this off than with a comment from one of the videos. This one was posted by Funky_Fresh 6 years ago as of the posting of this particular version of the video. From dirt blooms a rose. From tragedy grows strength. From fear comes courage. From our blinding eyes comes hope. A very powerfully worded and very simple message to end this off with. I'll see you all later.